Join us as we revisit the monstrous mayhem of Kong, Skull Island. In 1944, two World War II fighter pilots, American pilot Hank Marlowe and Japanese pilot Gunpei Ikari, parachute onto an island in the South Pacific after a dogfight and engage in close combat until the fight is interrupted by a giant ape. In 1973, Bill Randa, head of the U.S. government organization Monarch, plans a search for primeval creatures on the recently discovered Skull Island. He recruits a U.S. Army unit commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Preston Packard, tracker and former British Special Air Service Captain James Conrad, and anti-war photographer Mason Weaver. Arriving at Skull Island, Packard's men begin dropping seismic explosives, developed by Randa's seismologist Houston Brooks, to map out the island and prove Brooks' hollow Earth theory. The unit is then attacked by the giant ape, scattering the survivors across the island. Two groups form between the survivors, one with Conrad, Weaver, Nieves the researchers, and one of the soldiers, the other with Randa and the rest. Packard searches for the transport helicopter piloted by Major Jack Chapman, intending to use the weapons on board to kill the ape. Conrad's group encounters the local Iwi natives and an older Marlowe. Marlowe tells the group about the giant ape named Kong, which protects the island from predators, including a race of subterranean reptilian creatures dubbed skull crawlers, which were awakened from the bombing and responsible for killing Kong's entire species, leaving him as the last of his kind. The Iwi believe when Kong dies, a giant skull crawler will awaken and ravage the island. Marlowe reveals he and Ikari had become friends during their time on the island. They ride down the river, where Nieves is torn apart by carnivorous birds, and secure communication with Packard's group. When they regroup with Packard, he insists on searching for Chapman. Marlowe leads them through a mass grave of dinosaurs and Kong's family members. The skull crawler that killed Chapman attacks them, killing Randa and others before Weaver triggers a flammable gas explosion that kills it. Learning of Chapman's death, Packard reveals his plan to kill Kong and avenge his fallen men. Marlowe and Brooks attempt to explain that killing Kong would lead to the skull crawlers running rampant, but Packard refuses to listen. The group part ways, with Packard's group retrieving the weapons from Chapman's chopper and laying a trap for Kong at a nearby lake, while the non-military personnel head back to the boat. Conrad and Weaver meet Kong up close, and seeing his true peaceful nature, resolve to save him. Packard group lures Kong with the remaining seismic charges and incapacitates him with ignited napalm. Conrad, Weaver, and Marlowe arrive, and after a standoff, persuade the other soldiers to spare Kong, but Packard refuses to yield. As the others retreat, the giant skull crawler emerges from the lake, and Kong crushes Packard. The skull crawler fights and overpowers Kong, but in the end, the ape is victorious with the humans' help. The survivors reach the rendezvous point and leave the island as Kong stoically watches. In a post-credits scene, Monarch detains and recruits Conrad and Weaver, who are informed by San Lin and Brooks that Kong is not the only monster king, and show archive footage of cave paintings depicting Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. The final image shows Godzilla and Ghidorah in battle. The king of Skull Island has roared. What other titans await? Thanks for watching this recap, and see you in the next one. Flicks and TV.